might just be a complete idiot and ask you guys questions that are bad ideas to ask you.
So, basically nothing new then.
So originally my idea for this video was I was going to give you guys some questions I've learned not to ask American people. Then I thought it would be more fun if I asked you guys what I shouldn't ask you. Oh boy, did you guys have some good answers for me. Or should that be good questions? As a lot of you guys pointed out, there are no wrong questions, just sometimes wrong context or wrong people to ask. American people, generally speaking, are extremely open. They're like an open book as a people. They don't really mind you asking questions, but the reason I'm going to point out these questions are ones you might not want to ask is because you might not be ready for the answers. You may be opening a giant can of worms, and in a lot of cases people will assume that you have an agenda. Just to put it out there, I do not have an agenda today. I'm not coming at this from some side of the argument. I'm just interested in the questions themselves. I'm always trying to educate myself about things by looking at sites online that are sometimes blocked, which brings me to today's sponsor, which is actually a very organic one.
It's all organic.
Oh wow.
Surfshark is an app and browser extension that allows you to place your laptop, phone, or whatever anywhere in the world and lets the internet think that you are in that country. You can access and unblock websites that you may not usually be able to see. That the government is hiding from you.
And now back to our regularly scheduled programming.
It also adds an extra layer of security to keep your photos, videos, passwords, all your login details safe. When I'm doing research on videos for both this channel and my second channel, oftentimes I'll come across sites that I can't look at because I'm based in Ireland or Spain and their website is only accessible geographically somewhere else in the world. All I have to do is switch my VPN to a different location and boom, I can get in and watch or read whatever I want. Additionally, it allows me to access 15 different Netflix libraries and allows me to use different Wi-Fi networks without compromising my security. It's kind of a no-brainer, but Surfshark have given me the extra incentive of code Diane to give you guys 83% off plus 4 extra months for free, so you can check it out for yourself. Thank you Surfshark for supporting this channel in both the research way and the partnership way. Okay, let's get the first one out of the way, because you know the questions you are not supposed to ask Americans. It's anything to do with politics, and you guys, yeah, you agreed. A lot of you said the question, who did you vote for, is just a no-go. Also, are you red or blue? And yeah, it doesn't mean blood or Crips, it's referring to the political party that you vote for. Gang signs. Honestly, right now on the internet, I feel like you can't talk about tissue paper without somebody attaching some kind of political agenda to it. It's just the way things are right now. So while, yeah, it could be an interesting conversation, be prepared that people are going to feel really, really passionately one way or the other if you're going to directly ask them about this. Every single thing gets politicized right now. Even the deadly plague that has been sweeping the earth for 2 years became a political thing rather than a human one. And when I'm talking about aside, I don't just mean American ones, it's Ireland too. There's so much political debate wrapped up in everything right now. And honestly, I find it all kind of exhausting and kind of boring. As I've said before, I don't think any one party is entirely correct in everything they say, but a lot of people seem to think that you need to agree with everything a political party says. I don't care if they're American, Irish, from Liechtenstein. I don't know anything about Liechtensteinian politics. I'm sure they have their own issues. I actually don't think I've ever said Liechtenstein aloud before. Where did that come from? Anyway, to sum up, I'm of the opinion, generally speaking, that politics everywhere are fooked. Completely fooked.
That's not even a word.
I feel like politics need like a hard reset, like turn it off and on again, because it's all kind of not working. And because of this, I am massively in agreement with you guys when you say that asking an American about their political beliefs is probably not a good idea. A lot of times people will volunteer the information, especially in YouTube comments. And honestly, I think sometimes people who believe that YouTube comments are the right place for a political debate are somewhat misguided. My response generally when somebody throws their politics in my face is just to nod and smile, even if it's in a YouTube comment, more or less. Okay. Twitter and YouTube, and most of them are, in my opinion, just not an appropriate place to have those discussions, but I do think if you really want to have them, having one in person with an American might actually be a good idea, but just be prepared to be informed about what you're talking about. I prefer letting my YouTube be a place where people who respectfully disagree with one another can come together no matter what their beliefs, unless their beliefs include hurting dogs, in which case I genuinely believe they should burn in the fiery pits of hell. Okay, next is the hot button topic of pew-pews. I still don't know if I can say the word pew-pews because sometimes I will say it on this channel or on my other channel and sometimes it's fine, but then other times it's not fine. We're just gonna continue calling them pew-pews. Pew-pews. So questions you brought to me were questions like, do you all have pew-pews? Just assuming that you all have pew-pews. Can I shoot your pew-pews? How many pew-pews do you own? Aren't you afraid of getting shot? Honestly, since I've gotten to know you guys better and been to America more, I have come to realize how much and equally how little a part of everyday life in America pew-pews are. How many times am I going to say that in this video? Let me elaborate because I realize that last statement's a little contradictory. I would kind of equate pew-pews in the context of things to this meme about quicksand. When I was younger, I thought quicksand was going to be a much bigger deal than it was. And then I grew up and quicksand wasn't such a big deal. When I thought about going to America, I thought pew-pews were going to be a much bigger deal than they were. And then I went to America and then they really weren't such a big deal. But equally, everyone in America has an opinion on them and they do exist there. I'm never going to be blasé about them because I've grown up in a culture where access to pew-pews is very, very limited. So it's very hard for me to understand how they play into the role of American people in everyday life. Sure, if you meet somebody and you kind of develop a bond, get in context, I think it's cool to have a good conversation with them about it, but don't just casually bring up pew-pews when you randomly meet an American person, because people are passionate about it. And the fact that a lot of Americans have never been outside of America and experienced what I experienced of being in a society where they exist. They won't have been in a society where they don't exist. So it's very hard for some people to get in your headspace. You really want to know who you're talking to and what their own background is on things. It's the kind of thing you want to be having that conversation with somebody that you feel like you're in a safe space with. Not that they're going to shoot you, but just like, you know, it's a tough conversation. Okay, the next question, and I told you there was one that I am passionate about, it's about your food in America. Don't ask us why our food portions are bigger, they just are. Why is your food so terrible? Is all you eat hamburgers? Why do you serve so much food on a plate? Okay, I have been advised that these questions are annoying for foreign people to ask Americans. As it happens, I have done extensive research in a video on this channel which answers a lot of those questions. It's an interesting thing. There is a very different way in which food is used in America than it is in other parts of the world. So yeah, I guess some people are very touchy about that one, but it's definitely not the most vetoed of the subjects today. Just don't come in all high and mighty about like European food. That won't be appreciated. Okay, this one I actually found really interesting. A lot of people brought up questions that assume you're all one type of American, because I kind of hadn't thought about this so much, but I do know what happens to Irish people. So the example questions I got were, does everyone ride horses in America? Questions about only Southern or California culture. How many heads of cattle do you own, or do you own an oil well? Okay, so those are playing into a lot of American stereotypes, and I get that, and I would equate it to like people asking me, do I live on a farm? Have I ever been to a coffee shop? People who just don't know anything about Irish culture. So yeah, I completely empathize with that. I think that one kind of falls into the don't be an uncultured idiot, don't ask stupid questions.
Stupid is as stupid does, sir.
People are idiots from everywhere in the world, what can you do? The next one, and I actually completely empathize with this, it's when people come in asking questions about things that aren't going great. For example, in America, that Americans are aware of are not perfect, and being very high and mighty about it. So I guess more your approach to how you ask these questions than anything. Some example questions I have are asking why Americans don't sort out their healthcare, or sort out their wages so tipping isn't necessary, or sort out company benefits so people can have maternity leave. Americans are aware that these things are not going swimmingly. This one's tough because I think on the face of it, everyone knows that there are things that could be done better in America. Just like there are things that could be done in other parts of the world better than they currently are. Nobody likes you shitting on the place where they live. So if you come in high and mighty and ask American people about this when you are already coming at it from like, you do it wrong, it's not going to be appreciated, is it? Just as it wouldn't be if the roles were reversed. I'm doing a lot of head bopping today. What's that about? I'm pretty much assuming, but for a handful of American people, they are aware that people being sick and having to lose their homes to pay medical bills is not ideal. There could be a better system, and most American people are aware of that fact. They don't need us coming in and telling them you're doing that terribly. Just like we don't need them coming in and telling us what we do wrong. American people know not paying somebody a living wage is not good. They don't need it highlighted. Can I, as a foreigner, do anything about it? No, I can't. So, bringing it up, again, maybe an interesting conversation to have with a friend who's American, but just not an everyday conversation. It's not going to go well. The next thing that people have highlighted to me on a similar vein to the last one is asking American people questions to ambush them or loaded questions. You guys said trying to make out all Americans are dumb, according to the stereotype, and ask you guys questions that you're just not going to know the answers to unless you're like specifically informed about those subjects. So, for example, not every American is going to know about Irish history. I know that, so me going in and trying to corner somebody asking them a question about Irish history is just going to make somebody feel like you're trying to trick them into sounding dumb. You also said questions of continental superiority and asking why they don't use the metric system. Most of you don't know why or care. It's according to you guys. Mostly you just said generally quizzing you on geography or history or anything that you're just not gonna standardly know the answers to. Some of you might if you're just informed about them, but a lot of you aren't. And you've told me in the past that the American education system does not generally inform you about other places in the world. I do think that's a shame, but to go in and try and trick somebody into not knowing the answer to something just does seem really conceited and not friendly and won't be appreciated. And finally, I thought that we could end on this one because a few people pointed it out and it did make me laugh. Actually, I think this one's generally, globally speaking, a good question not to ask. Does this make me look fat? No. See how quick I said no? No. It doesn't. It doesn't make you look fat. You're beautiful. Nothing could make you look fat. You're perfect the way you are. The answer is always no. Okay, so food for thought. What do you guys think about some of those questions? Would you be comfortable a random foreigner asking you them, or are they only okay coming from somebody you know a little bit better? Are there other questions you think that foreigners should not ask American people? Let me know below in the comments. That's it for today. See you on the other side. Bye. I got this t-shirt. It's a video call outfit. For all my video calls, I thought I was going to have to do with restrictions, and the video calls never came. I don't have meetings. I just work by myself. Surfshark is an app and browser extension that allows you to place your laptop or phone anywhere in the world, and I forgot.